Hey everyone, we're here live at I Am Builders HQ. This is Daniel, founder of I Am Builders, and today we're going to talk about the foot in the door technique. What is the foot in the door technique? All right, so the title of my little Facebook Live today is the secret to landing 11 clients in 90 days. So the biggest challenge I always see all my clients having is landing projects. How do I land projects? How do I get the leads? How do I close them? How do I do this? How do I drop my price to be the low bidder? Blah, 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 right? These are all the things that they struggle with. Today I decided to do it outdoors. I'm here right in front of my office. I have my team in there working hard on estimating. But for all of my clients that are in like Massachusetts and New York, I just want to let you know it's it's a very freezing cold 50 degrees here in Miami. Hopefully you don't have like a foot of snow, or actually yesterday I was talking to, or 2 days ago I was talking to one of my Canadian clients. I have a couple of clients in Canada and they're like basically almost in the North Pole. So imagine how cold it is there. Anyways, so today what I want to talk to you about is the foot in the door technique. How to land all these. So I like made up the number. I said like 11 clients. If we work the numbers out, you could land 11 clients in 90 days. It is possible. I've seen it done. I mean, that's actually, you should be doing that anyway. I just kind of made up that number. But the point is, I want to share with you the technique that we're using and that we're teaching and that we're showing our clients to actually land these jobs. So this morning I was driving to my office, and one of my favorite longtime clients, he's a drywall contractor from Massachusetts. He calls me up. He's in Massachusetts and he wants to bring his company, or he wants to add a branch in Georgia because he wants to get closer to the family, blah, blah, blah. So the last couple of years we've been bidding and we've been pretty successful. It's going pretty good. The thing is that it takes a little bit of time to actually have enough projects coming in unless you do it consistently. So he calls me up and he says, I need help to close some jobs. Like seriously, like you guys are doing the estimating, we're doing good, but I'm so busy running the jobs that I don't have time to call every single person and try to close. So I'm like, hey, why don't we help you out? Why don't we do it for you? Or actually he suggested, can you help me out with that? Like, please, is there any way? And I said, all right, if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it right. Because I think that, so I always talk about this, but when I was at Coroni, I was a senior project manager, and we figured out this like really simple lead generation strategy and closing strategy, right? Before I started I Am Builders, this is what it was a drywall contractor here in Miami. We took the company from being just a little labor company, giving labor to some bigger drywall guys, and we started getting our own GC projects. The owner is like a really good friend of mine, but he tells me like, hey, come over, we want to grow the company. I'm like, sure, no problem, let's do it. But then when I walk in the door, he's like, yeah, I'm just getting my first couple little GC jobs. They're like $10,000-$20,000 contracts, but I have a bunch of labor money coming in. Like all my employees, I lease them out to all these companies. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I was kind of I was like, oh my God, I was a little stuck. I'm like, I just left a really good construction, I was a superintendent and I came over here and we said, you know what? Let's build this thing. Let's take this thing and let's blow it up. Let's explode it. Let's make it something special, right? So in 3 years, we took it from $0 to $7 million. And this is one of the strategies that we use. I just happened to give it a name because when we were doing it, we didn't really have a name for it. We just kind of like did it, right? So it's called the foot in the door technique. So what we want to do, the end result. So I want to start with the end. The end result that we want to do is we want to get in front of the negotiating. We want to get in front of the decision makers as fast as possible. Oh, a little technical difficulty there. So we want to get in front of the decision makers as fast as possible and as often as possible. So normally the way we do that is we're going to just bid a bunch of jobs, bid, and cross our fingers, right? That's what everybody does in the industry. But if you do that, you're going to get the same results that everybody gets in the industry. And the industry average is somewhere in the 10% or lower in success rate. And I know that because out of like, I think at this point I must have talked to over 10,000 contractors. We have 1,200 clients, but I I answer that phone every single day, and I hear the same thing over and over and over, and I ask all the questions. What's your closing rate? What's your percentage? How are you getting the leads? How are you doing this? So we've been able to figure out what everybody's doing that's working and what everybody's doing that's not working. So like we teach the stuff, we kind of build on the stuff that the success is, and we kind of shut down the stuff that's not working. So that's kind of how we develop our strategy. That's what we did with the Xplode strategy blueprint, and that's how we got this technique. All right, so let's talk about what the technique is, the foot in the door. So the end result is, let's get in front of the let's get on the negotiating table. Let's start talking final numbers so you can give me a contract, right? That's what we want to do. Let's get in front of the decision makers so we can get a contract and we can start construction, so we can start working, right? That's the goal. So how are we gonna do it? If you have an established, so the first thing I'm gonna recommend to you is go down your list of all the people you work for and just call them up. If you've done a good job, they're gonna wanna use you again. But let's assume you don't have that list, you're just starting out, or let's just assume that you are kind of like, you've taken your company this far, but you want to like grow it, right? Let's say you want to grow your company, so we need new prospects, right? So there's two ways to grow your business. One, we're gonna find a few clients, and we're gonna try to like not exploit, but we want to nurture those relationships so we get all their jobs. Or you want to become the go-to. Or two, we're gonna try to find as many clients, we're gonna go wide as possible. So that's another strategy we're gonna use. But the foot in the door, we're gonna start with the wide. So we're gonna we talk about doing your Dream 100 list. You're gonna make a list, you're gonna go to ConstructConnect or the Blue Book, you're gonna make a list of 100 people. Boom, 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 boom. And then you're gonna say, I'm gonna target these 10 to 12 people. Those are gonna be my sniper target, right? We're gonna focus on them, and we have the list, and we're gonna eventually hit that whole list. And we're gonna eventually have 100, 200, 300, 1,000 people on that list. And we made a master list. If you go to our articles page, iambuilders.com/articles, and you scroll there somewhere, you'll find 27 ways to grow your construction business. And one day I sat there and I said, okay, if I'm a GC, who would I go for? Architects, developers, property managers, commercial realtors, residential realtors. I made a big list, right? If I'm a subcontractor, who am I gonna go for? General contractors, construction management firms. I could work directly for the owners, residential owners. I want to work with, so there's a whole list there. Residential people, malls, property managers. There's a lot of people you could work with. So I made that list. So what you do is you grab that list, you go on Google or you go on ConstructConnect, and you just start finding people and putting them in a database. Boom, boom, boom. We built out the software called Capstone for you that you can do it there. If you're interested, we haven't launched it yet, but if you're interested, let me know. You can give us a call and we can kind of like talk about that. But basically it's this project lead tracking software that we develop for our clients, or you could just use Excel, whatever. But basically you make a list, boom, 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 boom. And you say, all right, let's get our 10 to 12 people. All right, let's focus on them first. You call them up. Hey, I want to start working, or actually no, I recommend a visit. You walk in the door and you say, hey, my name is Daniel. I'm with I Am Builders. I'm with ABC Construction. I was in the area and I wanted to pass by and meet you guys. They're gonna say, sure, what do you do? Oh, I'm a painting contractor. Oh, I'm a drywall contractor. Oh, I'm a general contractor. What do you guys have coming up? If they're an architecture firm, they probably have stuff in the design development phase that you can simply say, hey, let me give you some budget numbers. Because what happens is these architects, they're preparing these projects, these drawings, and they don't know, architects don't know how much anything costs. Their projects always come in over budget. So if you come in and you say, hey, let me get your 25% schematic set or your design development set, let me actually give you a quick budget. And if you listen to some of our strategies, there is a very good, so it's called the budget method. You can prepare an accurate budget based on incomplete drawings. Super simple. It's like a tactic that nobody's using. Prepare a budget, become their best friend. When the time comes to grab the job, to award the job, you're gonna be the #1 contender. And you're almost probably never even gonna have to compete with anybody else. It's a little bit of an investment because you have to invest your time and maybe a little bit of money on the estimating side. And maybe you have to invest a couple months into it before it becomes a contract. But then if you do, it's called a pipeline. So if you do it now, 3 to 6 months later, 4, 5, 6, 8 months, you're gonna have project. And that's how it works. And it's like an avalanche. In the beginning, it's a lot of investing, but it's for sure guarantee it's going to give you a result, 100%. Like it will. Anyways, so the foot in the door technique. You walk in, you get an opportunity to bid. These guys don't know you, so now the next thing we have to do is raise our perceived value. How do we raise our perceived value? Make sure your branding is good. Make sure your websites are set up. Make sure your team shows up on time. Make sure that if you have a meeting, you don't show up late. All these tiny little things really bring the impression in. Okay, so now you get this opportunity to bid. So part one is get your foot, walk in the door, right? Get the opportunity. Now we're gonna bid the job. What I recommend is call up your suppliers or call up your subcontractors and try to get some standard pricing. At this point, you can prepare. So there's this myth in the industry that you have to be the low bidder. I know I've proven this, I've broken this myth 100 times. You don't have to be the low bidder, but the only way that you break that is you have to work with the people first. Once you work for them for a couple jobs or 1 or 2 jobs and you kill it, then you can raise up your prices and put whatever you want, because then they see the value, they see what they're paying for. But in the beginning, they don't know who you are. They don't know if you're if you're a drywall guy. They don't know if you're even gonna do a good job. They don't know if you're gonna show up. Contractors notoriously are, they say they're gonna do something and they don't do it. So it's just kind of known in the industry. I just had a painting contractor come and paint my house, and the guy, every other day he tells me a story of why he can't show up, he can't finish this. When I was managing drywall projects, for some reason every week somebody's tire blew out. So they're all, you know how it is. So they expect that. So if you're the guy that doesn't do those things, boom, your perceived value goes up instantly. So you're gonna bid the job real low, just to get your foot in the door. Remember, we wanna get in front of the people that are gonna decide who gets the job. If you are a general contractor, the guy who decides is the architect, typically, because they run construction administration for the projects. And they typically have their own project manager or senior project manager from the design team that oversees the whole thing. So if you get your foot in the door, you bid good, and you get in front of that person, and you have a good first impression, and you have good rapport, and you've invested time visiting and calling and visiting and calling, and you build that relationship, then they're gonna want to use you. Okay, but you got to get in front of that table. So one, we're gonna get the opportunity to bid by visiting or by finding them on ConstructConnect. 2, we're gonna bid the job real low because we want to get in front of that table. If you look at your historical numbers, whether you're a subcontractor or a GC, you're gonna see that you're probably having between 10 and 30% in change order costs. So if, as a hypothetical, if I come in and my original contract value is 100,000, and I know that just in the natural order of the project, we're gonna land another 20%, so another 20 grand or maybe even 30 grand, just, hey, I gotta patch this wall, boom, here's the price. Hey, the owner sent this revision and we have to knock down a wall and rebuild it, boom. Oh, hey, you know what, the duct work, we have to adjust it, so we have to do If you know what your change order percentage is, I was just talking about this with my drywall client. We can go in real low, so we can go in almost just above cost. So your number's gonna look super competitive. So there's a couple things for you. So when you meet a new client, the way that they're gonna want to use you is A, your reputation, B, your expertise, or C, your price. So what's the easiest and quickest thing for us to do right now, so that we can get in front of those people, is come in at the price, at the low price. Doesn't mean that's gonna be your final. I always say that the first price you submit is like a preliminary proposal, because it always changes. We're gonna value engineer and we're gonna go down. Or, hey, the owner decided to make all these changes, so now it's gonna go up, right? Or in the middle of construction, your bid, your contract might go up, right? That's what we were just talking about now. So once you get in front of that negotiating table, you come in real low, you negotiate that thing, you demonstrate your expertise, and now you have a chance to literally audition for the role of contractor for the job. remember when I was we were negotiating this job called Casa Tua. Talk about this a lot because it was like such a cool thing that happened there. It was a very complicated ceiling structure. So this big Italian restaurant, and we had to do all the structural framing on the ceilings because they were holding all the millwork. And up to that point, I had done stuff like that all the time, before. But I remember I sat in front of the decision makers. It was literally like a conference table. It was all these, the senior project manager, the assistant project manager, the superintendent, the assistant superintendent. So like all the important people on the job. And they tell me, we're almost word for word. I have a couple of drywall bids that are better than yours, but this is a very important project. This is, to us, is a $5 million project for a very high profile client, and I need to make sure it's done right. So if I have to pay more, it's okay. I'm like, oh, okay, perfect. So obviously we weren't gonna raise our price at that point, but the whole thing was that they said, okay, I wanna make sure that you're the right company for the job, because not every drywall contractor can do this. So I remember they started talking about the structural framing, getting an engineer involved, blah, blah, blah. And I remember my boss was like, he was like stuttering. I'm like, no. So I jumped in. I didn't want to take the lead there, but I ended up jumping in. I'm like, hey, yeah, I have a structural engineer that can do our plans for us. He'll stamp and seal it. We'll submit it to the city. We'll take care of it. Don't worry. So I was like nonchalant about it. That for sure landed us that $350,000 contract. Absolutely, that was the reason we landed. If I would have told them like, oh, I've never used an engineer before, but we could cross our fingers and see how it goes, they're gonna be like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go with someone else. But because of my expertise, I'm not like master or anything, but because I've done it before. If you've done something before, if you've done a restaurants before, if you've done something, use that as your expertise. So that helped us land the job. So so we got in front. So we did exactly what I'm telling you. We put in our bid. We got in front of the people that were in charge of the decision making. We had a chance, an opportunity to sell ourselves and to essentially audition. It's really an audition because they're about to give you the contract, but they got to make sure that you're the right guy. And we landed the contract. Boom. And then what happened? Then we killed it on the job site. We manned the job correctly. We submitted our billings, our paperwork, our contracts, everything on point. We were probably one of the best subcontractors they used on that job. Guess what happened? They would call us for every job. We became their framing and drywall go-to guy. Obviously, GCs can't give you all their work because then they're like, they depend on you too much. But we were getting like 80% of their work. 80%. So this is an example of a client that in a year, we took them from, hey, I've never done a job for you and I don't know who you are, to, hey, I'm gonna trust a $4 million, $5 million project with Saks Fifth Avenue, one of our high profile clients. I'm gonna trust you with it. And guess what? We killed it. We passed the audition, we made it happen, and that's why they kept using us over and over and over and over. So I talk about like, you gotta do this a lot with a lot of clients, then eventually you're gonna land a couple that are like just like that, and then they're gonna marry you. They're gonna wanna use you for everything, okay? And that's when we can talk about going wide and then going deep. So find a bunch of clients, kind of see who needs what, talk to them, get in front of them. You're gonna see who you like working for, and then you're gonna find a couple of gold nuggets, a couple of great opportunities, whether you're a GC or a drywall guy, and they are gonna be the ones that they're gonna start using you for all your jobs. So number one, find the project. Number two, you wanna get your foot in the door by submitting your bids real low. And number three, you're gonna wanna kill it on the job site. Okay, so that's the foot in the door technique. Check us out at iambuilders.com. Implement that. We're about to launch the Xplode Strategy Blueprint, which is going to talk about all this and more. And we are here to help you grow your construction business. If you have any questions on leads, estimating, by the way, we are an estimating firm. It's our specialty, but we're building on all this stuff, all these additional services and things like that, and software to help our clients grow their business. Not just estimating. Estimating is like a little fraction, small percentage of the whole pie. but I want to show you all the strategies and techniques that we're using to help our contractors win jobs. All right, so check us out at iambuilders.com. See you tomorrow.